Alright, can I just start streaming? Is that possible? Is everything working? Mic. Microphone. Music. Does everything work? We're gonna hit this button, and hopefully I don't have a booger in my nose. Or if there is, be kind enough to tell me, yeah. Okay, stand by and press this button. Hey, look at that. The volume seems to be okay. That's always the most nervous part, is that I hit that button and all of these volume controls go bonkers. And that the music is overwhelming my voice. You know? You guys would tell me that the music is stupid, right? Is there music? Can you guys hear music in the background? Low as it may be. You know what I don't have? Is a be right back screen. Okay, we're gonna bump this music up like this. What does the stream sound like? That's not too bad, right? Just loud enough to be, just loud enough to have DMCA strikes put on my channel. Oh, so stupid. Okay. All right, who's in chat? I'm going to minimize this window. And I'm going to minimize this window. And I'm going to try to say hello to everybody. Hello, happy Monday evening for me, possibly Tuesday morning for some of you. Kind enough to hang around from the other side of the time zone and ocean. Thank you for being here. It is approximately 8:03 p.m. So I have about 2 hours to spend with you. Okay, let me say hello to everybody. Wilson, hello. Mr. Rob Replicator Arnold himself, hello. Mr. Darren Wagoner, good evening. Mr. Christopher John, 2 first names, but I'll trust you anyway. Good evening. Hello, Chauncey. K Manifesto, good evening. My lifesaver, my tank of oxygen and many leagues under the sea. Hello, Belle. How are you? Poncho Joe, good evening. How are you? I Borrow Ideas, hello. The person that's going to make this book absolutely stunning and legible. Wink. Mr. Eric Weathers, how are you? Eric, I am banging away like a trained monkey on a keyboard, trying to put all of this, all of the dialogue in a Word document for you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to need to speak to you offline about the process, in as far as getting you the process is that ATHENA has a well qualified, spankin' brand new story editor by the name of Joe Fulton. Joe was kind enough to take on the task of making sense of my narrative, and he's going to be the objective pair of eyes, sort of paying attention to where I dropped the ball as far as narrative connection tissue is concerned. And I'm not exactly sure if the best process is to wait until Joe has had his fine-tooth comb pass over the dialogue before I hand over the baton to you so you can cast your magic spell, or send everything over to you now with the expectation that some of that dialogue may change. It's strictly up to you. I don't know what you feel like. I don't know what your what would work best for you, what would optimize the time. I don't want to waste your time, basically what I'm getting at. So I'll try, I'll go by what you call. Joe Fulton won't be, what do I say his name? Like, why do I say his full name like I'm Forrest Gump? Joe won't be ready until sometime end of month, which is great because I'm going to be doing the dialogue pass for all 3 issues of Arc Athena between now and end of month. So you tell me. Leroy, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. Peter, hello, how are you? And yes, I did say Joe Fulton. Leroy, he is going to be... I'm telling you, I genuinely believe in the team of creative people, and I do mean that in the best, most complimentary way. I do mean in the team of creative people, I am holding it up. I'm bringing up the rear. Between Joe and Eric and Jules, they're going to be the ones that's going to be making this book shine. If there's any credit to be given, it's going to be to them. So keep an eye out. I can wait for Joe Fulton, full name. I think it's a prerequisite, right? Joe Fulton. Joey F. I don't think we're close enough for me to be calling him Joey F. I don't know what that. I don't know what it would require for he and I to be close enough so that I could call him Joey F. But I would feel genuinely uncomfortable. Eric Weathers could work on creativity. All he does is draw the same monkey. But he draws it so successfully, right? Can we all agree that it's a very successful looking monkey? Is it a monkey or an ape? Mr. Eddie Winkler, good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to wait about 5 more minutes or so, and then I can get started on the updates because, what am I doing tonight? Okay, for those of you who are here, you guys tell me in chat whether or not you would prefer not seeing the entire 3 issues, because my plan was to go through, okay, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. At the beginning of every stream, I do my very best to keep everybody who's here, potential backers, fans of my work, what have you. I try to give everybody updates on where I am in the production process. Not only myself, but let's say as Eric turns in lettered pages, as Jules turns in colored pages, I'll try to update. That way, if at the core of what we are trying to do, at least a pillar of what I'm trying to do with potential backers and readers is to establish trust, is that I want to show you how far along we are in the process before we launch the whole thing. I think that's really critical, that when you take a look at it, you feel confident in seeing the product and going like, oh, holy crap, that thing is 98, 99% done. I am very much on board in supporting that, because number 2, or actually more importantly, is that one of our missions as a team is to really narrow that gap between end of campaign and delivery into your hands. So my current proposal right now to the fulfillment side of our team is probably 3 weeks. End of campaign, into your hands, 3 weeks time, and that's just the main book. We're talking about just the bare bones version of the book. End of campaign, into your hands, 3 weeks. I think I'm going to get pushback, but I will keep updating you on what that time is. But certainly, in contrast to, based on the research that I've done, an average about 6 to 8 months from end of most campaigns into backers' hands is about 6 to 8 months, and we're going to challenge ourselves to get that into about 3 weeks. Or at least I'm challenging my team, members of my team. And by the way, it's not like an army of people. You know, it's I could count on 2 hands the people who are helping, including the pre-production side. The post-production side is probably a little bit more elaborate, but I would say about no more than a dozen people helping to fulfill this thing. So, point being is that the beginning part of my streams is to update you on the progress in whatever capacity, like I said, whether it be lettering, coloring, photos of, the markups of the book, whatever it may be, especially art, black and white. I want to be able to update you on that. The caveat being, there may be instances that there's spoilers. So I'll tell you that up front. And then you can do like earmuffs or like cover your eyes once I get to the pages part. Cool? Or if you guys say, hey, no, what do you call it? No spoilers, I'll find something else to do. But I really believe, I really genuinely believe that it's important that you see how far along the book is coming, so that you know for sure, again, just to gain your trust, just to gain your confidence. If you know by September's time all 5 books are done, I would hope that would show you exactly how serious we are in getting these books into you. Yeah, it's a mini-series, so getting these books into your hands. Cool? Okay. Let me say hello to everybody else who's walked in. Go through each issue page by page, panel by panel. I could do that. It would probably be taxing as hell, but I could do that. I want to buy an awesome comic that I watch being produced. Right on. I hope I can do that for you. The awesome part is a subjective slider, but it's not going to be for the lack of effort, I'll tell you that. Damn it, I missed the start. Well, you're here for the rest of it, Unhinged, so I appreciate your time. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Captain J.D. Hook. Hello, good evening. I don't think I've ever seen your name in chat before, so thank you for being here. I appreciate your company. Spoilers, the book will be awesome. I believe in the project. I believe in the story, and I believe in the characters. And more importantly, I'm totally bought into the team behind it. So if that counts for anything, as far as into that awesomeness category, I think, I'm convinced that we have that on the log. Now, your personal experience once you start reading it, I would love to hear from you. My pleasure. I think Giuliano hates me, Eric Weathers. We are trying to figure out this print file. I'm going to contact you later. Whew. When I see the name Eric, I get nervous that somebody's going to yell at me. Okay, let's go through let's update you on the things that need a bit of updating. So 1, issue 3 is all done, black and white, right? And I believe if Rob Arnold is in chat, I have him directly to thank for finally being the last straw on the proverbial camel's back to push me over and reach out for an editor. I had been on Michael Bancroft's stream. By the way, those 2 gentlemen that I said, Belle, if you could please put up the links to their campaign. One is for the Lucent, and that is on Indiegogo, and the other one is for Replicator 2? Replicator 3. Which one is it, Rob? Are you on 2 or 3? Anyway, can you please put up links to both of those Indiegogo campaigns? That would do a great deal for me, that I call these gentlemen's campaigns out, because I think they're going to be incredibly successful, if not already so. If we can find a way to help them out, that would be awesome. So it took Rob to finally break that camel's back when he said, hey, who's editing this book? Now, I had met Joe way back in the day, way back as in like 2 or 3 months ago, back when I was in Michael Bancroft's stream. Speaking of, I keep remembering things. Both of those gentlemen also stream, and you can find their YouTube channels, Bell. I'd appreciate it. That would be great. So in Bancroft's stream, I'm going to get through the story, I promise. In Bancroft's stream, he had mentioned just very lightly that Joe was editing his book, and sort of tongue-in-cheekly said, Eric, who are you? Who's editing your book? And I said, no, I hadn't really thought about it or not, but I offered it up jokingly to Joe, to which I think I don't know if it was because he was busy or that he didn't necessarily know or was aware of the project that was ATHENA, so he kindly sort of set it aside. It was never really serious to begin with, like just half serious but not fully. So fast forward through Friday of last week, and I said I finished it. More like Wednesday. I was nearing the turn of finishing. I was right at the turn of the corner. I was about to finish it, and Rob said, "Who's editing your book?" I said, I think I'm going to need one, but the answer is there isn't anyone. So he suggested a handful of people. I remember my conversation with Joe based off of Bancroft Stream. I reached out to Joe and I said, hey man, totally cool if you're not into it, because I'm convinced that you're busy with stuff. Or maybe it's not necessarily your cup of tea, but if you're interested, and lo and behold, he did. Now, I happened to catch him in a really, I wouldn't say bad time, but it was a really busy time because he himself had just launched his imprint, if not his publishing company. I think it's both. And so he was in the middle of a whirlwind, sort of like talking about it and across multiple different streams. And finally, we were able to sync up this Friday. I felt like I was interviewing for his time, and I wanted to make sure that it was worth his effort. And I think it was a 2.5 hour long conversation, to which he finally agreed, yeah, I can make time for this. Obviously, it's got to be scheduled correctly. And so now Joe Fulton is editing the book. So there we go. I'm going to catch up with chat real quick, and then I'll come right back. Rhiannon, how are you? Good evening. Thank you for being here. How many pages are in those 3 issues? Eric, are you speaking with me? Better, Eric. Are you speaking to me or to Eddie? If you're speaking with me, first issue is 49 pages that need your magic lettering work on it. Issue 2 is 40 pages. Issue 3 is 40 pages. So, mathing, 129 pages of art done. There you go. There's the replicator link. And then, I don't know whose YouTube channel this is, but I'm gonna hope it's nothing naughty. Oh, wait. Because I am a poor, what do you call it? I am a poor streamer. I actually have to tell people that I'm live. Is that okay? Stand by. I gotta look for... Yikes. Is this pro? Is this pro of me to... YouTube.com/my name. There we go. So professional. Can somebody tell me at the beginning part of these streams to actually notify on my social media? Good afternoon. Afternoon? Where are you in the world, Charo? But good afternoon. How are you? And this is the Lucent link. If you could please go support those 2 gentlemen, that would do a great deal of that would be a great deal of favor to me. Thank you so much. Eric Weathers, that's a lot of pages. Yeah, I know, man. I'm gonna do my very best to make you even busier. I hope that's okay. Frog G, good evening. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us. You will try to remind me, thank you. My addled brain prevents me from remembering all the processes and by which to tell people that I am live. You are in Asia, it's 1:30. Okay, there you go. So anyway, Joe Fulton on board. Good. What's next? What is next? Let's see here. I am going to look for... I'm going to share my screen with you because we have another small little announcement. And if you guys could do me a great big favor. I'm going to share screen, okay? Stand by. Whoop. Okay. Ready? I can't see chat. This is so pro. I need another screen over here just so I can put the chat window up. But okay, here we go. Ready? Can you see it? Okay. Yes? I can't see chat. You guys see my screen all right? Yeah, okay, good. All right, you guys can see the screen. Yes? Good. All right, so I just launched my website. All right. I'm very cheesy because I don't know what to say to you at the top part of this freaking screen. I don't know what to say in this header. But most importantly, right, in as far as like showcasing my work, which really is the third priority when it comes to this screen or when it comes to this website. Okay. I'm all echoey. Weird. Nothing changed. Hello, Replicant. How are you? Okay, I didn't change anything. This is not my fault. Bella's drunk. Bella's very drunk. Okay. Again, in as far as the priority of why we got this website up. And by the way, thank you so much to Bellatrix in chat who built this website for me. We wanted to make it as bare bones as possible. But the motivation for this website, number 3, is to have some of this artwork up. But more importantly, this is the sign up. So the sign up is available for those of you who want to get in on the newsletter. You can visit the site and the pop-up will come up and you can put your name and email address into the submit row there. That'll be awesome. Or you can go into the upper right-hand corner where it says ATHENA info. Click on that. You'll be immediately signed up to the newsletter. And hopefully, I'll get my act together quickly enough so that we can start giving away some of those busts. What do you say? In the line right next to that, under updates, you can see the blog in by which we will be updating anything and everything that I can think of that's related to the ATHENA miniseries and campaign. There's going to be stuff like this. Progress shots, maybe photos, maybe video, what have you. But there you go. I think effectively what's going to be inside this update page is going to be similar to the newsletter that's going to be sent out to you. If Bell set this up correctly, that's exactly what should happen. So I want to thank you ahead of time for signing up, but also encourage you just as soon as you can to please go into the Arc Arena info tab or wait until the pop-up comes up. It comes up in about 10-15 seconds if you visit the site. Put your name, put your email address, hit submit, and you are on the mailing list and immediately entered into the Arc Athena Bust giveaway. Speaking of the Arc Athena Bust giveaway, can we look at that again, just for our own personal amusement? Can we look at it again? Here we go. If it opens, if it's not just a bunch of line of code, oh boy. Whoop. Open with preview. There we are. Can you guys see that okay? Okay, so the idea for this giveaway to incentivize those who would be interested, and by the way, you guys are the first to see this, to see the sign up. So again, my most genuine thanks for you guys joining me during stream. But I'm hoping to put the fact that the website is live as well as the sign up is live. And then the idea is that 3 months leading into the official start of the campaign, the end of month 1, we are going to tally we're going to collate all of the names that have been entered thus far, and then pick a random winner, and we will be giving them a 3D sculpture of this bust of the leader of Athena. This character is called Lux, or Divana Lux. She's the leader of the team. We will be sending that out to you in fully 3D form, unpainted, probably either primer white or primer gray. And then in month 2, we will take the names of the previous month, tally that up with any new signups from that second month, and then give away a second bust. Do that same exact process again until the third bust, or excuse me, until the end of the third month, and then we launch the campaign. Isn't that cool? Does that make sense? I'll have some, when the updates go out in the newsletter, I will have somebody sort of massage the way that's messaged, because I think I'm not saying it very clearly. If you guys have questions, obviously the blog is there. You guys can type in as many questions as you want. We will be more than happy to answer it for you. I'll do another turnaround. I'm going to shut this down. There we go. There she is. Awesome battle armor. Yep. I think we're going to be shipping this out in pieces and unpainted. But there's only 3 of them. Okay, cool. Thank you all. Let me get back to chat really, really quick. Back to my face. And then back to chat. Where's chat? Okay. Okay, minimize this window. Back to chat. Hello, Lex. How are you? Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Eric Weathers, here's no echo. Too cool. Okay, cool. That seems to be clear. All right, so we're okay with me showing off artwork, right? Because that's the first half, or the first hour of me streaming for 2 hours until about 10 p.m. my time. Am I missing anything? Joe Fulton. Website went live. All right, we'll take a look at art. So I'm going to share my iPad with you so that you can see the most recent pages that I've finished. However, if you rather see all 3 issues, just so I can show you the crap load of work that's been happening behind the scenes, or like the crap load of work as far as pre-production is concerned, it's almost like, I don't know, it's like proof of proof of life in as far as all the pages being done. So I'm going to leave it to you which one you want to check out as I what do you call it, collect myself really, really quick in showing you what I'm going to be working on next. You guys may decide. Okay, I think this is good. Can I do this now? I can show you all page by page, issue number 3, and at least that way, maybe so that it won't be too spoilery, we can go backtrack and take a look at issue number 1, issue number 2. Is that okay? Cool. All right, here we go. Oh, by the way, if at any point you have any questions for me in regards to process, in regards to how, the pre-production of the book, art or drawing or anything like that, please ask. I'll try to answer them as best as I can if and when I catch them during the chat when I refer back to it again. Okay, let's share this iPad. Here we go. Hey, look at that. That freaking worked. Rabdaw says there is an echo. It's fainter than his full voice, but noticeable. I wonder what that is. I think I have all the right buttons pushed. Am I going to get hung up on an echo tonight? I'm probably not going to get hung up on an echo tonight. I'm probably just gonna let that echo and be part of the production. Okay. Oh wait, there's already a question. Stand by. I think you turned the mic on your AirPod. Yeah, but it shouldn't be keeping it on, right? Yeah, because I'm telling the program to pick up my microphone, this proper one, and not the one in my ear. I minimized the website. Is the website the thing that's throwing it off? What a kooky. How stupid is technology? All right. All right, we're just going to go through pages. Echo schmecko. Let's go. All right, first of all, what did I finish this past week? Can we go through that? Boy, this was it's always the last, and I was thinking this to myself when I was doing these pages, was like, issue 1 and 2 felt like I snapped through them, just whizzed right by and finished them, raring to go. And then when I started on issue 3, oh my gosh, what is a slog. It was so, I felt like I was moving in molasses. And yet, when I looked at the schedule and I looked at the calendar, I was like, actually, I'm moving faster in issue 1 and 2. I wonder why it just feels like this. And I realized, oh, right, this is typical for me. Whenever I'm working on any miniseries, I feel like, gosh, when is this going to be done? Not because I'm not enjoying myself, but you know what I mean. Like, you're just in the middle of it. I am now at page 1, close to page 130, minus cover, minus like the different hats that I have to put on so that the project can get off the ground as seamlessly as possible. It was a lot. So I think I was just feeling that mental fatigue. And it felt like I was moving very, very slow. Although these last pages, I can honestly tell you, between things that were not in my control, not the least of which the ice storm that hit my neck of the woods a couple of weeks back, I felt like I wasn't getting anything done. But anyway, I don't know what I showed you guys, but so I'm just gonna go through it. Can you guys see this? Okay. Actually, the better thing to do is to just use the pinch in and out feature. All right, finish this. All right, finish this. By the way, if you have any questions in the series, and if you don't mind me spoiling a couple of things, please ask as many questions as you'd like. I'll try to be as forthcoming as possible. Finish this. This took forever. This environment took forever to draw because it's fun drawing debris. Like in the beginning part of this book, destroying stuff. Let me show you. Destroying things like, let's say something like this, right? Destroying it, like buildings and things that have fallen over. Fun to draw, but also easy-ish to draw. It's so much fun to just like imply scale and imply space and imply destruction and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to an interior, like this one, like establishing spatial relation to characters, establishing how big the space is. So like, for instance, a perfect example is that at the beginning part of this scene, right, we established that all of our protagonists are hanging upside down in this approximate space, right? But I never really fully show the room. I use elements of the room as compositional elements to like draw your eye and move your eye around the page, right? Or move your eye around the panel, right? But then I need to come up with the opposite side of that room in which you still have an understanding of where everybody is in relation to each other, but also understand like, okay, what does the other side of the room look like? Right, I know for sure there's going to be a lot of talking, so there's effects behind the two characters in panels 2 and 3 that Eric is probably going to end up covering up with bubbles and speech balloons. So I didn't do too much heavy lifting in that, and because I'm revealing a close-up on the main antagonist in panel 4, I didn't want to be too heavy-handed with putting more environment. And at the end of the day, the busyness of the page is really helped. Right, the busyness is relegated by me maintaining that completely white non-background in panel 4. Right. Anyway, I think I showed this panel off last week. I had mentioned that I turned those, I used a different color for the hologram, effectively as color holds, so that Jules, the colorist, Giuliano, is going to be able to select it much faster and do all of his effects on it without having to oddly have to pull it out of the original artwork if I had left it on the same level or in the same layer. Showed that last week. And so I got this far this week. Whoops, sorry. Pardon me and my chubby fingers. Where'd it go? Oh, this one. That's upside down. Wait, why is that? Wait, come here. Right side up. There we go. Finished this one last week. Right? Jeez Louise. Can I tell you, I have no recollection drawing these pages at all. I really am super afraid of getting yelled at by either Giuliano, who's going to be coloring this, probably going to be cursing my name in, what language do they speak in Brazil? Is it Portuguese? He's going to be cursing my name in Portuguese. And then Eric Weathers for not leaving him enough space. I'm sorry ahead of time. Again, Eric, my bad. Okay, you've seen all the other pages leading up, or thereafter. And then I finally got to finishing up this page, which is an echo of a scene from first issue when they do the jump, when they do the superhero jump. Right, finish this one up. I should have had somebody build these spaceships in 3D, man. It'd be so much easy to just plop everything onto the scene. Pick an angle, take a screenshot, plop everything onto the scene, but nope. First of all, I didn't pick something that's really easy to draw, like a triangle or a wedge. I had to pick this thing that looks like a horseshoe with razor blades on the ends of it, which is stupid. And ellipses are very hard to draw. And so the main body, where conceptually the cockpit would be, I had to turn that into a disc. I just made everything difficult for myself. Especially because it's not even a main thing in the, it's not even a main thing in the story, it's just a bad guy ship, I finish this one. So issue 3, especially this part of issue, specifically this part of issue 3, is sort of a callback to scenes in issue 1, where the tone and tenor has changed from more celebratory and badassness to the level of desperation that Athena has to get into, or has to go into, by the time you get to this portion of the story, when they've basically come to terms with the idea that they are vastly underqualified to be doing this job. I hope I'm keeping that specific in context of this scene, but vague enough in context of the story. I told the story to Joe Fulton. I'm going to keep saying his full name. I told the story, the overall arcing umbrella story to Joe Fulton, and he had a good laugh about it. And I think it was very complimentary, that good laugh. I finished this one. Good Lord. And then finish this one. I was really looking forward to drawing this panel, because I just felt like, it was all about composition. It was all about blocking in these harsh blacks to the left, then leaving it a little bit open to the right, and then using those things as framing elements so you can see that the team is climbing down into the giant crater that giant kaiju / road beast drilled into the ground, and now they're going down there after them. And then that little diagonal wedge of black that they just put a tiny bit of texture as they're trying to climb down deeper and deeper into this this tunnel and this hole. That felt really fun. and not putting any background in issue 3 and just, or excuse me, in panel 3, and just letting your eye rest, because the reveal in this last page, and if I show it to you, I don't think I should show it to you, but when I told Joe Fulton about it, he had such a good laugh, because I made an analogy to a pre-existing concept in DC Comics, and when I said it, he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's going to be so awesome." So there you go. I won't do this last panel. Okay, am I going to deal with Echo if I share with you issues, oh gosh, if I do issues 1 and 2? Can you guys deal with Echo? I know you guys are saying that it wasn't really overwhelming, but I certainly wouldn't want it to be annoying, if that's all right. Actually, you know what? Let me go back to hey, there hasn't been that much talking. Awesome. Whew. It started when you opened the website, so that's my guess, but the echo isn't very echoey. And just a bit more of Eric. It's like, very cool. The fact that you're already worried about space is good. Most don't even consider it. Eric, I've had my fair share of letterers and, and editors yelling at me. And can I tell you this? In the times where I'm not being very aware of it, by the time the product comes out and I finally take a look at it on the shelves, right? Like after I take the issue out and look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did such a disservice to the story because I'm not allowing the reading experience to flow very well. That really sucks. I felt bad for the writers, like trying to come up with something cohesive, and I got caught up, or ran away with the idea of just drawing for the sake of drawing and not leaving room for the actual narrative to come and do some of the heavy lifting with me. Okay, we're gonna look at pages now. Cool? Yeah? Okay, get ready for Echo. Get fucking ready for Echo. Eric, what do you think is the right number of panels to have per page on average to tell a story but not kill an artist over the course of a whole series? I think that's a bit subjective, right? For me, anything that crosses the 6 panels is a lot. And it all depends, right? There's some pages out there that are like a bunch of headshots and talking shots, which I am not a fan of. I know it's sort of a way to get through narrative, but it's like a bunch of, gosh, I just saw this. I just remember there was a big to-do about it in social media. An artist calling out another artist, like sort of double page spreads with like talking heads, and I understood in concept why it wasn't, first of all, why the general public thought it was taboo, right? Young kid, didn't really have too many notches on his belt as far as work is concerned, sort of calling out another artist for their storytelling preferences, and I get it. Second part, they actually brought it up themselves, the artist who called that book out, who called that storytelling thing out. They said it's not very exciting to look at, And to that, again, I'm not throwing shade at the artist who actually drew the panels. To that, I kind of agree, which is like, it's a block of text, and I know why you're doing it, and you're trying to do a lot with the acting of the person that's saying the stuff that's on text. But me personally, the reason why I don't like to do too many talking heads is because with every block of text, I genuinely believe there's something that you can do to add to the experience of reading that text. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do like a fighting shot. Like you don't have to have an entire book with like fighting. But even within the content, I spoke about this 3 weeks ago, conversations ultimately is, you can be opportunistic about the subtext of those conversations. And I don't want to bore you with the example that I took from that movie Heat by Michael Mann, when Edie meets Robert De Niro's character for the very first time in the coffee shop. But those things to me cinematically is a subtext that a lot of potentially talking head situation that you can flavor it with, rather than going like headshot, eyebrow lifted, headshot, same headshot, looking off to the right, headshot, looking off to the left. I guess it is to say that, to each their own. If they like those kinds of shot, if that works for their story, cool. Not for me. And so to answer your question, for me, like even when it comes to like action related things. As a matter of fact, that's the only time I think it would be ideal to cross into that 6 panel per page threshold is when you're doing action, because more panels to me means like a lot of frenetic action, you know. It's a long-winded way of saying 6 panels. That's what feels right for me, but it could be different for anybody else. 6 panels. Okay. Eric, not sure if this is already asked, but is Arc Athena going to be available internationally? I'm aware of shipping hassles, so just wondering if this is something you factor into your plans. Yes, let me tell you a really great story and resource that I often tap into. Just yesterday, I think it was on Rob Arnold's stream, and I think if Leroy and Rob are still in chat, they could chime in about this. But Rob had said something interesting in regards to how much of a heartbreaking concept it is to know that it's a $25, let's say, right? Like the bare minimum of the campaign is like $25, $30. And then on top of that is shipping. Now to ship it, you know, within the continental United States, it's going to be relatively less expensive than shipping it internationally. And when they were talking about that, I was like, it breaks my heart to think about, you know, like what can I do from my end that will A, make the most sense, and B, won't break the bank for either of us. Us being me as the creator and publisher and the fulfillment, and you as a potential backer. Rob had said something interesting that I think is a viable option in as far as incentivizing or at least balance. He said this. And forgive me if I'm not capturing it correctly. He said if I am being charged at the very least for that international shipping, it would behoove the creator to honor that concept and to give you a little bit extra for your money, right? Whether it be a poster, whether it be a sticker, whether it be whatever it is, right? So whereas I can't necessarily do anything about the shipping, because the shipping is going to be that, right? I don't know if there's a graceful way around getting the books to you. What I can do is make it worth that extra charge. And if I can find something in there that makes people on the international space, one idea is that we are going to be printing an exclusive cover specifically for international buyers, that only you guys, anybody outside of the continental United States, is going to have that. Secondly, depending on the orders, and I think this is viable, international people are probably going to get a small original drawing from me. So hopefully that that lessens the hurt. Does that make sense? But I want to help underline how grateful I am to Rob's stream, to Rob's participants in his stream, and then ultimately his chat. Because what an amazing resource to be able to tune in to the Replicators channel and be like, that is a genuinely concerning, growing, but more importantly, addressable issue, addressable problem from a backer's perspective. So there you go. You had a 24-panel action sequence in your first book. Jesus Christ. You're a masochist, man. That's freaking crazy. Just rewatched Heat the other night. You ever seen The Keep? I don't know if I have. Or at least if I have, I don't remember seeing it. Or I don't remember the title of it. I may see it and be like, oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that was the title. I remember an old issue of G.I. Joe with that centered on Snake Eyes and stories told with no dialogue or narrative panels. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Larry Hammond's been doing that, I think, almost annually, where it's the quiet issue, but it's gotten more and more ridiculous. I think it was a nice sort of gimmick when it first came out. Now they're almost compelled to do it every so often, and it doesn't work as well as that first time. And it's an old gimmick, so it's like, oh, it's the no talking issue, you know. Eric, I feel like my rendering technique slows down or drains the energy from panels to keep them in motion. Is this a problem you've had during development as a comic artist? What a great question. The answer is yes. Because, and here's what I want everybody who is an artist that's trying to make headway in growing their craft, don't render for the sake of rendering. Okay, and this is going to save you, at least, okay, I don't want to project onto you. In my experience, it saved me so much time understanding why I'm rendering the thing, right? Because sometimes we take a look at our favorite artists, our favorite book, our favorite whatever sequence somewhere in printed form, and we're like, oh, holy crap, that's awesome, right? And then we try to incorporate it into our work because that's how we are. We take, like, even subliminally, we take snapshots of something. If we are so influenced by something that really speaks to us, we obviously take it from them and try to apply it into our own work. A muscle that I did not exercise enough is asking myself why that thing is being rendered, right? So if what has happened has slowed you down because you're especially because what's happening is that it's deadening, quote unquote, the energy of your panels, maybe it's time to take a step back and take a look at why you feel like you have to render it in such a way, right? And if you come up with an answer, oh, I'm rendering it because there's speed, I'm rendering it because this guy is throwing a punch and that punch needs to land really powerfully, what have you, right? There's a car crash and it's slamming into a tree or into a wall into another car. If the exercise is to capture some level of motion and momentum, ask yourself if there's a way that you can do it independent of how you saw somebody else do it, but incorporating the right amount of detail so you can still communicate that thing that you're trying to communicate, whether it be somebody getting punched, somebody, running into a wall, somebody running into another car. So you don't lose that without losing that energy. Does that make sense? So to answer your question, yes, it slowed me down, but only because I wasn't paying attention to why I was doing that. I was simply enamored by oh man, I saw Jason Pearson, artist and author for Body Bags from back in the day. I saw Jason do it. He knew why he was doing it because he took it from Adam Warren and all these other influences that he's had, but I didn't know. I just looked at it, I was like, oh, that looks really cool, I hope that's helpful. At least that's what saved me. I don't know if it's going to be helpful for you. Does Canada count as international? That is a great question we have yet to discover. The Keep was an early man film, by the way. Okay. Cool. All right, pages. Holy crap. That took freaking forever. Oh, I'm going to take a sip. At one point, I was reaching out to the post-production delivery side of ATHENA, and I proposed this. And don't all of you laugh at the same time. Okay. I said, what if for X amount of people, for X amount of X amount of block of time, X amount of orders, whatever, we would come up with a metric, what that meant. We would just eat the cost of shipping. We just eat the cost of shipping. And I was leveraging my argument to say, well, eat the cost of shipping because if at our core, we want to help establish trust. We want to earn an equity of trust with our fan base, with our readership. Wouldn't it be awesome if in earning that trust, we can eat the cost of shipping regardless of where it goes, whether it be, continental United States, internationally. And boy, I have not been shut down so quickly. That shutdown came so fast. Holy mackerel. I think the response was, why don't you eat the cost of it was very pointed. It was not very kind, but I understood the I understood where they were coming from. That was a dumb idea. Okay, we're gonna can I show you guys? Can I show you guys pages? Okay, first of all, why would it'd be kind of, you know what? I'm gonna hit a button and I'm gonna share my screen with you, and I'm gonna see why that shouldn't be going on. Okay, wait, mute. Is that helping? No more echo, right? No more echo? Yes? Hey. I think I didn't hit this mute button. All right, we're gonna look at pages. Ready? This is the lineup that I gave to, still there. I've been echoing the entire. Can I turn that off? There? Is that cool? Blah, blah, blah. No echo that time. Blah, blah, blah. Stupid echo. It's this button. You know what's funny? There is a mark here that says, it's a tick box that literally says use echo cancellation, and I ticked it and it echoed. It's sort of counterintuitive. That's kind of stupid. I ticked the echo button, anti-echo button, and it gave echo. Okay, here we go. This is the lineup for Arc Poseidon. Basically, they're the color model sheet so that Juliana knows how to color each and every single one of the characters. The scale is off because this mech, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth character in, the scale of him is off. He's about 2.5 times as big. But anyway, here are all the color model sheets for the main cast, including Arc Athena. And now I'm going to show you issue 1. And I'm going to draw. I'm just going to cycle through them very, very quickly. Okay. That we don't get hung up on. By the way, that's all I've been doing for the past 3 days, is doing the dialogue for this thing so I can get it to Joe Fulton. He can then get it to Eric Weathers. And then Giuliano is coloring, as I lay the track down, all of those talented gentlemen are just chugging full bore in the bullet trains that they're on. You know what's great in regards to my personal experience, 3 issues deep, 100 some odd pages deep, 100 some odd pages in now, is that I'm finally starting to get comfortable drawing on the iPad, 1, and then drawing these characters, 2. By the way, again, Eric, if he's still in chat, if at some point, and I want to have this collaborative relationship with you, the great thing about some of these shots, actually the great thing about all of this is that I did everything digitally, right? So, Eric, you still in chat? Eric, still in chat? Okay. If you are still in chat, I want to keep that collaborative door open. So if at any point you're reading through the dialogue and you're like, oh my gosh, we don't have enough room for this. If only this image is, 15% small, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Please, please, please ping me or email me right away, and I'll just shrink the panel and then draw everything else behind it where you would end up putting the dialogue. Knowing full well that the dialogue is going to be there anyway, I'll be able to do sort of the, just a rough patch, a rough draw in, so that it's not just completely white background where you put the dialogue in. So I really want to help make your job easier. And if there's an opportune time, don't hesitate to be like, dude, this thing needs to be just X amount smaller, and then I'll move it over. Easy peasy. Cool? And if you can tell, I've already, in regards to Grenadier M, which is that giant mech, I've already changed his head design, because I'd realized that in order to help you register which way he's looking, by the time we get to the end of issue 2, it was too hard to have this sort of just pylon that represents his head, He needed a face, put simply. Oh wait, I better have chat so I can see. Oh, good. Eric's still here. Yeah, if at any point, man, you're like, we need to shrink this down, it's a really, I don't know, we're going to have to come up with sort of the communication shorthand, right? Like, in my head, and this is just the bad version of how we could do it. Like, if you see a panel, you literally can just draw a red line of how much smaller you need that panel to be. Or let's say in the case of 1, 2, 3, this fourth panel where you're like, I wish I could put this dialogue right between these two elements, the characters in silhouette and the hand in the foreground. Just call that out and I'll find a way to shrink in and out of that. Now, the challenge is that Jules is painting or has already painted some of these panels, and it may be like, Jules, I have some bad news. I have some good news. The reading experience is going to be so much more robust. The bad news is that we're going to have to go back in there and re-render a handful of things. But I don't think it'll be that rough. Jules is a complete professional. If you hear any moaning, it'll be out of me. Okay, I'm going to do this for another 10 minutes. Whatever I can fit in 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be the entire 3 books, because I feel like that's a bit overwhelming. Oh, there is a version of this page, especially because it was this, I don't know if you guys can see this page, okay, but like, it's the first time where, what do you call it? Arc Poseidon fights the giant freaking monster kaiju. And this was just a regular splash page. And after we had done we had this moment of clarity in regards to how many pages this book should be, we had to go back, and thankfully it gave us more coverage. That is, it gave me more pages to work with in order to be able to explain the story, in order to get it up to 48. And this was one of those opportune times where I was like, they're going to fight these giant monsters for the first time, and that splash page looked nice. But the moment I had the opportunity to, I was like, this is going to be a double page splash. Mitchell, how are you? Thank you for being here. So establishing tone is one of the bigger challenges of coming up with a book that didn't necessarily have sort of like a pre-existing lineage behind it. When Joe Fulton heard the pitch and I gave him the breakdown of what the series was going to be, he came up with like an easily understandable I guess what you could call like an easily understandable pitch to somebody. If you were to say it's very sort of like Hollywood, which is to say it's kind of like this, and this combined, and people get it immediately. I pitched it to him as like, imagine if Michael Bay directed an X-Men movie, and he was like, I get it. Yep, I understand. But as I was going through the story with him, he's like, it's kind of like Independence Day and Pacific Rim and the X-Men combined, right? And I'm like, yeah, what a great way to sort of like have an understanding of what the tone is, right? Like it never, like ATHENA is not necessarily there to I don't know, it's what's the best way to explain it? Like you have action movies that are trying to do something a lot more deep than it really needs to be, right? ATHENA is right at the cusp of that, but I wanted it to be a fun, just bombastic, unapologetic series that I get to draw all the cool shit that I wanted to draw, right? So establishing tone was so very important to me, especially when it came to the first issue, because as a reader, I want you to be able to pick it up and be like, holy crap, what the heck am I reading? And then by the end of the book, you're like, oh, I am so in for this ride. That's at least what I hope that you walk away with. Also, there was something interesting. I was watching something, and if Leroy is still in chat, I was watching Joe Fulton announce his projects there, and he had mentioned ATHENA, and he was kind enough to show off a handful of pages. But it was 2 splash pages, and it was the what was ready, and I had just kind of given it to Joe. I gave him a little bit of context on it, and I said, here's what they are. But there was something in that conversation, and maybe related to, but not direct. There was something to be said about seeing seeing pages in panel form. I thought that was interesting, because naturally, when you're working on a series, you want to, like, especially if you want to, like, wow people who are looking at it, you want to do these, you want to show off these pages that give you that full punch in your face experience, not necessarily taking into account that some people might want to see the comics as they're going to be receiving it, or at least as close to, because obviously these aren't colored, these aren't lettered, but like as close as they're going to be receiving it once they have their printed copy. I thought that was pretty interesting. At least that's what I walked away interpreting. I was like, right, it would make sense to show off some of the panels, right? To show off some of these sequences. So that's pretty cool. That was a good takeaway for me. The more I start hyping stuff, the more I'm like, yeah, I'll show panels off. I mean, I didn't have any reservations doing it. I just thought that by way of just like, ooh, look at that. You get to see the splash pages, you get to see the alternate covers, and you think, my attitude was like, that's the kind of stuff people want to see, right? And yes, that's true, but it's not comprehensive. It's not like, oh, there's also other things that we'd like to, as an audience, as a potential backer and a reader, I kind of want to see those things too. So that's good to always have percolating in the back of my head, to sort of like broaden out my perspective, broaden out my scope of what a potential backer, what an audience might want to see. The other thing is that, is there Christmas songs playing in the background? Is that Christmas? Get out of here. The Christmas song threw me off, man. Okay, the other thing is, again, first issue-wise, you have to establish so much, and 40 some odd pages seems like a lot until you understand that, and this was a conversation that I've had with a handful of friends of mine, and just recently with Joe Fulton, that it's so hard to capture each and every single one of the characters, because there's an ensemble, you know what I mean? There's like a group of them. So I don't think I'm skilled enough as a writer to sort of like layer all of that in 48 pages. So I took the approach that I believed was was more approachable, which is I found two versions of the protagonist and I kind of built the story around them with a supporting cast, right? And I think that's pretty indicative of how X-Men books were back in the day, especially the ones that I grew up with Chris Claremont writing. You would always have this series, let's say 4 or 5 issues, or maybe even single issues in which they focused on a character. Oh, this is that 2-issue run that's more Wolverine-centric or more, more Storm-centric or whatever it is, more Colossus-centric. And I think that was the way I that's when it really clicked in my head. I was like, oh, I think that's a way that I can comfortably tell these stories, is that if I don't make it about, oh, this set of panels, I need to do six pages dedicated to establishing this character. I think it was good enough that I did a little bit of that to establish, like, oh, you kind of know their personality, but not spend so much time that suddenly it's like 2.5 books worth and we still haven't gotten to the point of the main plot, just so you can understand characters. So I picked 2 versions of the protagonist. It happens to be the leads for ATHENA and Poseidon, and I show the story based on their reactions and built a supporting cast around them. There was also, again, in the storytelling realm, like I got so hung up with telling you through certain narrative, and obviously action shows a lot more than words could, but I got so hung up in making sure, hey, do you understand that? Do you understand like the premise, even as simple as it is, you understand what's going on, right? Like, and as I was, and this is the funny part, is like, I pitched it to a handful of people, and I think I pitched it to my wife, and I think one of the key things that the takeaway from it was, or one of the bigger takeaways that I didn't quite understand was, gosh, this is so like, imagine if all I fed you was like salty food, there's like, by the end of it, you would be puckered up and completely dehydrated. Once in a while, you have to introduce a little bit of sweet in there so that the salty parts really do stand out and you can taste things again. Not necessarily a palate cleanser, but just a different taste. So point being, right, it was so serious in all of its action, it's all of its like storytelling, and in a way sort of like its world building, that I'd forgotten I should inject a little bit of humor. And I did. And I found an opportunity to do it. And that's what, when we switched from, I think it was 24 pages, 28 pages, somewhere in there, the moment it became 48 pages, now going into 49, the moment it extended out that wide, now I found opportunities to be like, okay, this is the part where you just kind of, you catch your breath, because there's an injection of humor, and I don't think that it's cheesy, or if it is, it's appropriately so. Okay. Did I say 10 minutes? Is it 10 minutes past? Does that mean I don't need to go through issue 2? Can I start drawing now? There is this orangutan that has been giving me fits. This drawing of an orangutan has been giving me fits because I can't seem to figure it out. Okay, we're in issue 2 now. Man, planning double page spreads and splash pages is so freaking awesome. Drawing them, on the other hand, is a whole lot more challenging. And certainly, depending on my mood, if I'm exhausted or if I'm distracted, it can be really, really bothersome. Okay, can I stop doing this now? Can I stop sharing pages with you? Are you guys good with how much work has been done? Yeah? Okay, cool. Let me catch up with chat. Really, really super quick. Eric and Fit bubbles between the panel. I was struggling with that effect, and you'll see it pop in and out depending on, and Jewel has called me out on it. There are instances when they are when I cut to the mothership, the alien mothership, and she's sitting on, the main antagonist is sitting on her throne, and as her two sort of her two generals are bowing in front of her, there are these bubble effects that I'm drawing through the panels, right? But I'm not consistent with it. So in one of the pages, it was like really obvious, right? Like to indicate that they're in an environment in which, because they're like kind of like, you know, like evil fish space aliens, that they're in an environment that has water inside of it, right? Or at least that environment is like, yeah, filled with some fluid, right? So I was obvious with it in some panels, and then when I cut to, you know, the next set of pages, all within the same scene, I stopped drawing it, and then only because it slipped my mind to draw it in there as an effect. Not always, but let's say if somebody moves, it comes off of their body depending on how they break through the water, you know. And Jules called me out on it. I was like, "What the heck is this?" Like, me being dumb and forgetting. Saying it took you a bit to get comfy with the iPad. Tried it a few months back. Immediately knew I'd made a mistake. Seeing your rocket gives me reassurance to keep plugging away. Much respect. Thanks, Lex. I appreciate that. You know, it's not as hard. It's just you captured it perfectly, which is it's just a matter of you keep on doing it until suddenly it's the other thing that you do. Now, here's something that I can suggest. You take it or leave it. Don't look at it as think of it as something else than what you're used to doing. So if you're, what I mean by that is, if you're used to drawing traditionally on board, on paper with pen and pencil, the mistake that I made is that when I switched over to digital, I wanted it to have that same experience, and that immediately made it feel odd. Right? It made it feel like, oh, this is abrasive and this is not working and it doesn't feel good. Rather than doing that, think of it, reframe the challenge, reframe the exercise in your mind to be something else, which is, I'm going to draw something on this iPad. It's not going to look like what I did when I draw traditionally, naturally. But there is something else that I can gain from this artistically, not even in just the pre or post production of like being able to upload it to your collaborators immediately, but certainly in the final piece of art, it's going to look different, and you need to be okay with it, is what I'm getting at. Eddie Winkler, great stuff. Thank you so much. Can't get enough of those pages. Renan, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, what am I showing you next? Can I just render a monkey for like 40? Like, what's strange to me is that now that I'm in writing dialogue mode for the first 3 issues, that's going to take me a while to get ramped up, right? So the past 2 or 3 days, starting end of day Friday up until today, it has been a really uncomfortable space to be typing, you know? It feels weird because I haven't done it in such a long time, but I figured, similar to working digitally, I can just, what I need to do is just sort of bear down and get to the task of doing it, right? Like, you should have seen me, just as recently as this morning, where I would type in a couple of lines, you know, for dialogue, run it through my head, hear the character say it, but then like... but then go find a way to distract myself. Like, ooh, I wrote that great line. Okay, let me go look at Twitter real quick. Which is dumb. Anyway, yeah, totally distracted myself. Like, for every 6 or 7 lines that I wrote, I'd be like, feels good. Let me go distract myself, get some ice cream. So dumb. Rather than be disciplined, get through 7 pages today, 8 pages today, whatever it is, because my goal is to have the entire thing scripted out and ready for Joe Fulton by end of month, right? So that's when his schedule kind of gets a little bit lighter and he's made room for ATHENA. But here I am getting hung up on, or getting caught up in like getting myself distracted. So that said, maybe, here's the thing that I had not done for 3 issues straight, was give myself a little bit of time, give myself a little break. And I think I can, understanding my speed, understanding the schedule, and understanding, I just read through issue 4 script. It's loose bullet point version of the script. I'm like, oh, this is doable for me, right? I think I need to give myself a tiny bit of a break, maybe as many as 2 or 3 days, and just kind of relax, recharge, not go immediately into writing, allow my brain to shift into that very specific gear. And then just as soon as I can, again, as many as 3 days, as few as 2 days, go right into it. So if you don't mind, I want to draw a monkey. And I can tell you a story about this orangutan, but it's hard for me to explain, and I don't know if I'm going to do it well. So can you just take it? Because even if I were to tell it to you right now, I wouldn't know enough of the nuances behind what brought around drawing an ape with an AR-15. I don't know the full story behind it. I just know that Rob asked me, and I said, yeah, absolutely. I think I can do that. I've never drawn an orangutan before, so I'll draw that orangutan. But I won't know. I don't know the good story. I don't know the sequence of events that led to drawing, an AR-15 in the hands of an ape. Chimp? Ape? I'm just going to draw. Okay? Here we go. iPad time. And this will be my break with you all tonight. Where's my pen? All right, first of all, do I need to look up a model for this AR-15? JK, hi Eric, I finally got you live. Thank you for being here. You know what's funny is that I advertised this thing as me doing Arc Athena related things, and then you join in having never seen me draw before, at least as you said it just now. Hi Eric, finally got me live, and here I am drawing a monkey. I feel awful. I feel like I bait switched you right into like, hey, guess what? I'm going to be drawing a superhero book. Come on down and hang out in my stream. And then you show up, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready for these freaking superheroes. I'm all like, yeah? Well, here's a monkey. Hit the bricks. I'm going to draw this monkey. Did you know I looked up reference for the texture on orangutan's face, and it is a freaking lot. And I went in there and tried to draw it. That was a mistake, man. That was an awful, awful mistake. Also, keep in mind, this belt of bullets don't represent anything. Like, there's no way you could load it into this gun. I just liked it because it's like as a visual aesthetic, but he's not carrying the right gun for these bullets, boy. And so that's the... Maybe it's a gun that he's already used up, and he's just using the bullets as like accents, but these guns don't mean, these bullets don't mean anything. I'm just a little silly. The other thing is, okay, wait, I'll draw it for you, because I can already see how awful a concept it is. Ready? Okay, so, an orangutan anatomy is similar to a human's, but not quite. Looks like, actually this looks like my body. Not this skinny. Here we go. Let's chunk him up so it's closer to my proportions. There we go. There we go. There's my anatomy. But like the arms are significantly longer, like this. Like this. That's about orangutan. There. Right? So, it's such an awful draw. Oh gosh, I hope you're not here for fucking art tips. Here we go. So here's the orangutan head. Right, somewhere in here is the torso, right? And somewhere in here is a crotch that's sitting on the trunk of this tree. Are you following? From the hips, right, or the bottom part of this trunk is. Here's the trunk. Here's the trunk, right? Somewhere there shoots off this leg, right? There's the thigh, here's the knee, and then here's the, what do you call it? Here's the shin, the lower leg, and then a monkey foot from top view kind of looks like this. It's not necessarily a hand, it's still a foot, but it's got all of these sort of, these really like useful digits, right? Anyway, erase. Okay, so assume for a minute that all of that is still, in line, right? So this leg, as I drew through this knee, depending on how badly I cheat it with like foreshortening, this knee should be somewhere up here. Maybe I can get away with it with what I have now, but that's pushing it. Look at that. I'm already cheating that knee. Okay, so it's already falling apart if I were to draw through the figure, okay? So here it is. Now the other hand/foot would be like this, right? Make sense? I'm gonna draw in blue so you can see the rest of it. So here is the shoulder, and it should go kind of what I have. It should go like this. See that? See, there's a cute angle, almost 45 degree, but instead, lazy Eric Canetti drew it down like this, which doesn't make any sense, because how does that volume wrap around this knee that's already jutting forward in perspective? It can't. So that's already a mistake. Mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is if this is the upper body and this is the lower body and the torso goes like this, what the heck is this back here? What's that, Eric? I don't know what that is. It's meant to represent the arch on his back, but that's not working either. So is that mistake number 2 or 3? Let's say that's mistake number 3. Mistake number 1 was me drawing this frickin' monkey. All right, here's mistake number 4. See, the barrel of this AR-15, along with its stock, if I were to draw a through line, would go like this. But if you can tell, the stock suddenly dips down dramatically, like a dumb, this way. And that's not possible, because gun construction doesn't work like that. So there you go. As I slowed down to look at this thing in the midst of me trying to draw it, I was like, boy, oh boy, please don't anybody draw like the volumetric underdrawing for this monkey. Please just get wowed by my ability to draw texture and hair. Actually pay zero attention to chimp anatomy. Chimp anatomy. And just let me get by with wowing you with texture and roaring teeth. I don't think a chimp's mouth opens like that. I don't think that's true. Okay, so I blame Rob Arnold. And I'll tell you a little story. He messages me offline and he says, "Hey, we're doing this thing in Bancroft's stream." And again, not knowing any context behind it, he's just like, it's an orangutan, and this is how he pitched it. It's an orangutan with an AR-15. And I was like, why? He goes, it's too much to get into, but you have 2 hours. I'm like, how much time do I have? He goes, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be 2 hours from now. And I'm like, oh, okay. In the middle of like shoving dinner into my face. Bancroft is going to stream. It's going to be 2 hours from now. It's going to be an extra challenge. And I think Rob knew that it was like, when he said it's going to be a challenge, he knew that's what was going to light the fire under me. So I was like, oh yeah? I'll show you how to fuck up a monkey in 2 hours. So I'm going to do my best to fix this monkey. Let me scroll up. I know I missed a bunch of chat. A monkey is a rite of passage. Yeah, but for whom, Eric Weathers? For whom? A monkey with a gun is a neat idea. First of all, you've obviously never seen Planet of the Apes. That's an awful idea. Don't give a monkey a gun. That's a recipe for trouble. AR-15 orangutan. That's it. Danger Vanessa. That is it. And I can't compete with a young kid that actually ended up drawing him. Oh, there we go. Hey, Billy. How are you? If you don't know, in one way, in whatever fashion, and I still can't understand how this came about, so forgive my lack of knowledge, lack of like self-discovery, discovering for myself what this is all about. I think this is a character that Billy took a polish to, or at least a concept that Billy helped to visualize, then put a 12-hour polish on. 12 hours, for crying out loud. Who draws for that long? Anyway, Billy, congratulations on, first of all, selling your monkey. In my life, I feel like I'm 62, 65 years old. I'm somewhere in there. In my 65 years of being alive, I don't think I'd ever thought to myself I'd be saying congratulations on selling your monkey to a fellow artist, but congratulations on selling your monkey. If it's a monkey with a gun, it's fine for stream to go on. I didn't know there were allowances, but thank you. Thank you. Honestly, it's very on brand. For the monkey with a gun is very on brand, or like derailing the stream and pulling a bait and switch. How dare you say something so true, so profound? This is my dear friend, John Amore. I want to say something nice about him because I rarely do outside of stream. I don't say anything good about John, but John Amore is the artist, co-writer of a webtoon series called Urban Animal, and they are at season 3 right now. He's about to tie a pretty ribbon on season 3. So if you're not following John Amore and all of his social media, more importantly, if you're not subscribed to his webtoon series over there at Webtoons, it's called Urban Animal. Please go sign up now. And Belle, if we could put up a link to John's personal passion project, that would be supremely helpful. John, is your Kickstarter for the first issue or first season of Urban Animal, your Kickstarter, your campaign, is that already over, or can people still buy into it? I mean, literally buy the book. This is a celebration about the joy of drawing many things. I love that attitude, Wilson. Thank you for enabling and empowering me. I had one of my feet facing the wrong way for like 6 hours until I noticed it. Good. You're all about the useful digits. Me too. I was thinking to myself, man, this monkey, if I could draw with those feet. Eric, are all these video titles fake outs a meta-performative hint at the interplay between ATHENA and her shadow team? That's way too deep, man. That's way too meta even for me. So the answer is no for now until it's yes later. William, but thank you for introducing it into my pea brain. I've been meaning to ask, probably been asked before, but how long do you spend on a page, generally speaking? Fuck, what a great question. I don't time myself. But let's say, if you gun to my head, made to answer that question, I'd say 6, 4 hours, closer to 4, depending on the complexity. 4 hours. It makes me so happy to see that I wasn't alone in constructing my orangutan. No, you were not alone, but I did so afterwards. And again, I blame Rob. Oh my God, this is deja vu of my last week. You're killing me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the PTSD. I feel really, really bad. Everybody blames him. We're talking about Rob. I feel bad. I shouldn't blame Rob. I could have said no. I got peer pressured into it, though. I have no backbone. Hearing you critique your own art is a lot of fun and inspiring. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm always going to lose it when he sees this monkey. I think that's a good thing. I think that's encouraging. Here you go. There you go. Superhero urban animals. And that's the nicest thing I will say to John all year. Kickstarter is done, fully funded, but people can buy the book from Rocket Ship in a couple of months. Right. Or I can actually claim my book and then just like give it away. Here's the thing. I contributed to John's campaign because I believe in urban animal, and also because I have a high affinity for his body of work between writing and drawing, right? So I contributed to his campaign, but I didn't really want his book. See, I told you the nice part stops. I contributed to his campaign. I didn't really want his book, so I don't know what thing I clicked in Kickstarter where I was just like, this one where he doesn't have to send a book to me. I was like, keep your stinking book. Keep your stinking book. And hit the bricks. But to their credit, to their fulfillment credit, those guys have been emailing me almost every 2 weeks or so. Like, it's not too late to claim your book. Please fill out this form and claim your book. Please fill this out. And I think it's like the 5th email. And it's getting kind of desperate. Oh my God, please claim your book. It's going to sit in our warehouse forever if you don't claim it. Do us a freaking favor and fill out this piece of paper to claim your book. Please, God. Please, generous backer, please. We'll ship it out to you and everything. Please claim your book. And I'm like, no. I just wanted to give John money. I just wanted to show support. I don't want a stinking item. So John, can you talk to your people? I'm so honored to be one of your favorite artists working today. Yeah, it's a very big target that you paint around art, like a very broad definition of the word artist, quote unquote. John Moore's colors are some of the best in my opinion. I've admired his work for years. That's a really, really bad idea, Billy. That's all he's gonna do. He's gonna print that out he's gonna print that out and put it on an iron-on on a t-shirt. You just get, like, his head is already remarkably, noticeably bigger than a regular Filipino head. And now you give him a little bit more. I've spent years trying to break him down. Little things like that takes us one step back, Hello, Mo Biggs, how are you? Is that avatar actively black for a reason? Or is it like a malfunction? Or is it like a small little glitch? Just when I thought my version looked kind of cool, Kennedy comes out here and makes mine look like this thing. Listen, anything that you do will be significantly better than the Frankenstein monstrosity that's on screen right now. Look how awful that looks. That's not a real monkey. Zade Studios, how are you? I think you need to fill that out so that they can actually charge you. Ha ha ha. Now I have them by the proverbial short hairs, John. Oh wait, they actually haven't charged me yet? How much do I want to give you money? how much do I want to give John actual money, or do I just want to give him the promise of money? Maybe they haven't charged me yet. Their loss, buddy. They could have charged me a long time ago. He's Filipino too. Gee, you guys stick together. Stick together in your Filipino boat. Stanky Jr., how are you, man? Thank you for being here. And thank you for saying it twice. I appreciate that. 2 bitchins. I'm avoiding drawing this monkey. Can I just do this offline? Can I find something else? As I relax for the next 20 minutes or so. Can I do that? Oh, I know. I needed to get to this, repainting this Alice in Wonderland painting. For the sake of setting it up as a digital file to incorporate it into my next NFT drop. So I'm going to repaint this really quick. What I can in 20 minutes. Is that okay? Cool. I don't want to struggle through a monkey. Again, something that in my 60 years of life I never thought that I would say out loud. I don't want to struggle through a monkey. A long time ago, back when I was still streaming on Twitch, I made a similar joke live either in my stream or in someone else's stream. That I was 60 some odd years old, and somehow that made it out into the internet sphere. So that when somebody wrote a profile about me just randomly in some kind of fan site, they quoted me saying I was 60. And now that's what I am. And at first I thought, like, how dare you? Do I even look freaking 60? The answer is yes. So I just chose to to accept it. That was a bad idea, man. You can't joke when you're streaming, because somebody is inevitably listening and they will take it completely out of context. And because I deliver things so deadpanly, that's a real word. That's a real word. Deadpanly. Because I deliver things so deadpanly, they just randomly and automatically believe me. Oof, that pink nose is awful. Somewhere in here, this red I'm looking for. There. My point is, I don't think I'm 60. Maybe I pass as 60. Oop. Here. This drawing that I'm working on is something from like, what year was this? Did it say somewhere? Nope. Did I not sign this stupid thing? Guess not. Anyway, this is an old drawing. And you can tell because this is when I was still running everything through that, through a noise filter, in order to get like sort of a digital watercolor effect back when the watercolor brushes weren't really all that viable because the processing power to do that effect wasn't very good back then. That's how old I am at 60. I dug this one out of the files. The issue, I think, what I think inevitably is going to come down the pipe with these NFTs. And by the way, does anybody here know about what NFTs are? Because don't ask me. I don't know. Anyway, one of the issues that's going to inevitably come down the pipe, and I'm having to deal with a version of this now, is that it is so new in regards to art that is a one-off. So let me give you an example. When I draw a cover for a mainstream book, they return the art to me, and I can then sell that piece of art, original piece of art, to a buyer, right? I sell that piece of art to a buyer, and that's the end of that. It's a one-off, and therefore it exists as just that one piece of art forever, right? They're not allowed to reprint it. They're not allowed to, whatever they end up doing. It's just for their own personal collection. What's happening, the gray area of this new original, this digital art as an NFT. If I drew a cover similar to what I did with, let's say that G.I. Joe one, that Serpentor cover that I did. You token that, you put a token to that and sell it off as a digital one-off in which you are going to be paid in cryptocurrency. The publishers are a bit nervous about that concept because they don't know what that looks like yet. It's absolutely brand new. So they're careful to say that's okay to do. Right? So we're having to understand this new space that we're in now, and understand what the restrictions and liabilities and if there's any infringements that's happening. We're having to discover that along with the publishers to see whether or not it's as obvious as what we used to have back in the day, which is just a one-off that we're selling to a potential customer, or if it's something else altogether that we're going to have to build a as of yet non-existent infrastructure for, right? Really, really weird. Did you just actually me, John? Did you just literally just actually Eric me? Get out of here. One of these days, you're going to have to show that Arzak I keep seeing. Where do you keep seeing an Arzak? Where's Arzak? Behind me somewhere. A youngish 60, thank you very much. And then a day over 70, yes, my skin regimen is finally kicking in, thank you very much. Mindy, what I would say, if I ever grew up to be a good artist, Mindy Lee is the artist that I'm going to grow up into. Follow-up question, do you do both your sketch and inks in 4 hours? Yes. Also, any tips on saving time and getting pages done faster? Thanks a bunch. Yes. In any given page, you're going to have X amount of panels. Focus on the panel that you're going to do the majority of work on, the majority you're going to be doing rendering on. Spend your whatever X amount of hours that you spend per day per page on that panel, and everything else needs to be downgraded to like 60% effort. I know that sounds weird, but trust me, it works. At least that's what works for me. Mr. Michael DiNicola, how are you? Thank you for joining me. It is now some ungodly hour in your neck of the woods, but thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Oh, by the way, for those of you who joined late, please go to my website, visit. It serves really, the primary purpose that it serves is for you to sign up for my newsletter as I update for the pages as I finish them, and then ultimately towards the ATHENA crowdfunding campaign that's going to be on Indiegogo. And then secondly, there is a blog space there, or excuse me, more like a blog, in which I will start uploading a lot of images, a lot of progress, a lot of everything that's ATHENA related. So if you are there, it's going to alert you for those updates. It's going to incorporate your emails for the giveaways of the small bust statues, which I showed earlier. If you're interested, I could show that again. I only have about 10 minutes of stream left. So there you go. Black Rose, welcome. It's nice seeing you, man. Thank you for being here. I think you drew this when I was 30, when I was 39? Maybe. Jasper Plan 9, thank you so much for being here. I guess 47 to 48 from the fact you worked on Aeon Flux. I'm Maybe I'm 40. I don't know. Addled minds. In your Procreate menu, it's a profile in the center. What? Profile. Hey Eric, nice seeing you on Purchase Show. I'm the one that shot him that Spidey image. That was embarrassing, but also amazing. By the way, I forgot. Maybe he'll listen to this later, but it's like 2 hours into the show, so maybe he won't even get this far. But thanks to Perch for having me on. That was such a great time. I didn't want to bombard him with questions. I really wanted it to be a conversation, but I had them lined up for the guy. And I really wanted to pick his brain because it's obvious, number one, he's so much more plugged in and so much more significantly in love with the business and the everything else that's associated with comics, more so than I am, more so than my cynical brain ever will be. But I want to thank Perch for tolerating me, for having me on, and for setting me up with so many things to talk about during his stream, which I think was about 2.5 hours long. The sobering thing, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you guys know, it's old news to you, new news to me. Holy crap, they produce a lot of comics on a weekly basis. And my question to him and my question to you is, who the heck do they make those comics for? That was easily 3-4 dozen comic books, some of which I'd never heard of before. Rare that could I pick one out that was from like an independent creator. It was mostly from publishers, mostly from mostly from different publishers, big and small, right? Mainstream, not so mainstream. And I'm like, who the heck do they make these comic books for? Because I know, as a retailer, let's say you invest in some of those comics, which you probably won't. That's not good business. Business being like, I need to sell as many of these. And Perch said something very interesting. He said, if I don't sell through 80% of my orders within the first 3 days, I think that was, you can go back to Perch's channel and listen to that conversation between he and I. He knows he's going to have a hard time selling the rest of the stock. That's sobering. He is motivated to sell through 80% within the first couple of days. So why would any retailer stock any and all of those books that got released on a weekly basis, ones that you've not heard of, ones that have not spent any time advertising for them, you know? That is a scary, scary marketplace. That is a scary endeavor to publish right alongside Image and DC, who spend so much time marketing their product. How do you make any headway inside a brick and mortar place? My heart goes out to any and all of them. Holy crap. Anyway, that being, thank you for shooting him that semi-embarrassing image, but it was a great piece to talk about. Thank you for opening up a wound that I thought once had healed over. ATHENA is going to be massive. Listen, I'll tell you this, for those of you who are still here and still listening, my hope, in as far as my expectations, and I hope I can set this same expectations with the stream, my hope is to give you a premium experience if you invest in the 5 issues, the 1 issue of ATHENA. What we have had a tendency to do as people who crowdfund, and I believe I'm one of the ones that's not going to get a ton of attention. I genuinely believe that. That's why I want to work really, really hard in garnering your trust. One of the pitfalls that we do, and maybe Rob can talk to this, is that we're using a preconceived notion of success as the metric in by which we consider our projects as a success. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think once you start looking through all the crowdfunding successes out there, some of them reaching like 6 figures, we go like, well, that's top shelf, right? While that is true, it's not the only truth. Especially if you reestablish for yourself, and I'll speak for myself, especially when I reestablish for myself and for this project what success means. 1, I want you to be satisfied with your product. I want you, when you get it in your hands, hopefully shorter than any other product that's been out there so far, or it joins a very small group of people who gets it into your hands in a very short amount of time, that you take a look through it, and you're proud of participating in its inception beyond just in my head and on paper, that it actually exists because you helped bring it forward, right? And if that means it doesn't reach into the six figures, a high five-figure space, I'm okay with it. Because I think some of that success, some of the necessities of that metric, measuring that kind of success, is because people want that to be their primary form of, it's become their primary form of income. At least that's their hope. And when they reach that, they're like, oh, that's awesome. I mean, my goal, if that happens, that's wonderful. I obviously would want to strive for that. But ultimately, I want you to have a good time reading the book. First and foremost. That it feels like we just didn't poop it out. It feels like it was well thought out, and it's a story that actually has some merit to it. As short as it is, 5 issues, 200 some odd pages in total. That you feel like, holy crap, the entire team behind this really wanted to give us an experience. Not just the reading of it, which is pretty paramount, right? Not just in the visual experience of it, again, just as paramount. But in as far as holding it, a tactile product in your hand, you're like, this was well thought out. From front to back, inside, front cover, back cover, inside front cover, inside back cover is well thought out. And I'm so proud to be part of this experience. Anyway, massive. That was a reaction to Black Rose's comment of ATHENA is going to be massive. I hope so, but not in a traditional sense. I hope that it's massive because if you back it, you feel like this was such a great experience. I was talking to my lead at work, and I remember that she was recalling to me the first time that she opened an Apple product. Forgive me, but that's a high bar for me. In as far as what they set you up for when you are a consumer of one of their products, is that it's not, and the entire industry has followed suit, by the way. It's actually sort of this unknown, not necessarily immediate metric that people attach themselves to. Apple, and I hope in some fashion, the team will get the product to you, and once it's in your hand, you're like, holy crap. Now we're just talking about the book. Right? We're talking about just the foundational thing that gets you excited, which is the book itself. As you flip through it, you're like, this is really, really well put together. It's an experience. And that's what my lead was talking about. The first time that she ever bought an Apple product, opening the box, unzipping the whatever, I think it was one of the earlier experiences of her buying an iPod that, you open the box and that felt like something. You took a thing off and you get the iPod itself and you unzip it from whatever vacuum sealed, blah, blah, blah. But the experience of that made you feel something. And we hope in our definition of massive, quote unquote, for ATHENA, it's somewhere in that realm. At least we're going to strive for it. You are calling my name out with an exclamation point, Rob the Replicator. Thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for still being here. I see artists on Twitter bitching about how unethical NFTs are, and I don't get it. Listen, I want to hear that unethical perspective. I really do. Because I at the very least, if I hear it, I'll have an understanding of it. And even if I disagree, I'll know. You can't wait for ARC. Thanks, buddy. I really, really appreciate it. The Spidey image brought some entertainment. It really did. It brought a lot of consternation to the Spider-Man buying public, but it brought me some entertainment, so I appreciate that. Woken, how are you? Hey, Eric, thanks for the awesome content. If I may ask, what white pencil and or pencil did you use for your previous tanned paper sketches? God, I haven't worked traditionally in what feels like a year and a half, but it was, I think Pentel makes it, or Sakura makes it. I wish I had the exact model for you. Hit me up on Twitter, won't you? Go to twitter.com/@Eric Kennedy, and I'll attach a photo. I'll take a snapshot of it as soon as I get off stream. Why are the unethical? Get out of here with your weirdo English. Doesn't make much sense. How cool how it was a bit of a secret interview, just your awesome Wonder Woman in the thumbnail. Was it a secret interview? Man, Perch knows what he's doing. Fulton Red. Right on. Apparently it's bad for the environment. Oh, I've heard a version of that. Argument, because the amount of energy that it takes to mine the cryptocurrency, as well as the quote-unquote gasoline that goes behind it in order to sell it, is anti-environment. You know what else is anti-environment? Humans. Perch has good channel, good topics. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Your boy isn't getting six figures anymore. Graham Nolan doesn't. We won't see a lot of that as more enter the ring. I think I had an offline conversation with either Michael D. Nicola or somebody else. We have to understand the history of how that came into being, and it's a lot more than I can. A lot more time. I think it requires a lot more time to sort of like analyze, and I would love to get your guys' perspective on it. But at one point, and this doesn't encompass everything, okay? But I think in part, and again, this is all theory, push back or disagree with me as much as you want. When that happened, it was the perfect situation in which a lot of tumblers fell into place, and each of those creators that got six figures actually could speak to this, and they freely admit to it, that things happened in that concentrated amount of time in which it garnered so much support, which I think is overwhelmingly awesome. People supported their products because they believed in what the product represented. I think that's valuable. I think that's encouraging. That's mind-blowingly amazing. Fast forward X amount of years, those same supporters are now if they had not developed a discerning level of understanding and taste for the things that they were automatically supporting for the sake of, and again, this is general, this is not speak to you if you don't believe in this. Absolutely. Everybody is informed in paying for something based on their sort of perspective about it. So again, if this does not speak to you, forgive me. This is not sort of like pointing fingers. But people had developed a better understanding of the products that they had supported, and then moving forward, these products that have come out, right? They're starting to be, put simply, they're starting to be a little bit more choosy. What is this thing giving me that I'm not getting or have not gotten in the past? And what a great question. What a great motivating question. That we spent time thinking about what that means for people who have grown accustomed to all the bonuses, all the little extras that you put, all the, and so we asked ourselves, what is important in a comic book campaign? And it was sitting right there. The bonuses are great. Those are nice sort of icing, but it's got to be about the book, right? What is most important about a comic book campaign? The comic book. All the bonuses will come. All the bonuses are appropriate. I think those are important in a way, depending on what your perspective is. Hey, how do you make it worth my time when I am across the ocean, when you're shipping internationally and the shipping charges to me are just like such a burdensome, cumbersome, almost painful thing. That's a nuanced conversation to that person. But at the end of the day, right? My opinion, you can think differently, regardless of what bonuses I give to you, regardless of what poster, whatever, premium that you add on to it. if the comic book doesn't hold up. So instead, the team is going to focus on the comic book and then start thinking about how do we make it that much more worth your while, right? Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Did I miss the website announcement? No, you didn't. The website, ericcanetti.com, is where we are going to be updating you on the progress of the campaigns, the progress of the pages themselves. And if you sign up, you get that newsletter regarding all of that progress, or you can go to the update section of the page where you can read directly if you're subscribed. But most importantly, as we lead into the campaigns 3 months out, your name, as you sign up with your email, is going to be rolled into a raffle at the end of each month for the next 3 months leading into the campaign. At the end, let me give you an example. If 100 people signed up in that first month, we're going to get all of those 100 people, pick out one name at random, and send them a 3D printout of the main character. I can show it to you again. Let me show you a 3D mini statue of one of the main characters from ATHENA. I think I have it here. Hold on. Here we go. We're going to let it load, and I'm going to share my screen with you very quickly. And I'm going to zoom and pan around. Ready? There we go. Here's the 3D model. It's probably going to be printed out in primer white, primer gray. Right? Cool. And then, at the end of that month, we go into month 2, end of month 2, we take all the remaining names, draw another name at random. That person wins the another statue. So we have 3 in total to give away. And it leads into the campaign, and we tell everybody, hey, ATHENA is live. But that's what the website is for. Cool? My problem is that I keep changing and tweaking my page composition. How do you become satisfied with your page and decide to finally ink? Sorry if it's a vague question. No, it's a great question. Basically what you're saying is sometimes you can think of a better shot, or you are unsatisfied with the shot that you have. I'll tell you this, one of the things that really slowed me down, and again, I want to make this my personal experience, because heaven forbid you are going at your own personal speed and pace for your journey. I don't want to impose on you my perspective, right? I'll tell you my experience. I needed to get over that. Every panel for me could have been improved. Every panel could have been tweaked to be a little bit better left or right, you know what I mean, like little sliders. But instead, what I wanted to focus on was 20 pages later, right? The majority of my learning came from the actual doing and producing. And so that I, at the end of 20 pages, can go back and reflect on the thing that I produced and go, okay, in my next one, I'll know how to do this better. I could have sat there and really tweak the hell out of every panel so that I'll be quote unquote satisfied with it, which I know ultimately I wouldn't have been. But instead, I focused on the end product. What did I produce at the end of 20 pages, and how much learning did I do? Because for me, personally, I learned through a lot of doing. Good luck. Mr. Michael Bancroft, how are you? Eric and I have the same editor, I'm pretty sure, that makes us blood brothers. Listen, you do not want my disgusting mongoloid blood mixing with yours. I promise you, it is not pleasurable, and it brings nothing to you whatsoever. Avoid my blood, Michael. You're better off without me. Nocterra Process was a beautiful, oversized, signed hardcover with a foil stamp cover jacket. It was fun to open. A perfect example. An experience to behold, I'm sure. I don't have mine. I don't have one. I hope I will one day. There's white gel pens that work great. I know a lot of pros who use them, for sure. Are you doing another covers sketchbook? Not anytime soon. Maybe near the end of the year, beginning of 2022, I think, when convention season opens up again. But this year, I'm primarily and hyper focused in getting ATHENA out the door. This is really the thing that I'm super passionate about. So all the other sort of distractions, if you think about all the things that I've been doing on the side that's not Arc Athena immediately related, it's Arc Athena adjacent, which means to say anything I do is in hopes, or the strategy is that it brings attention to when I finally launch the Arc Athena campaign. So if I'm doing a cover for somebody, it's basically because I want the public consciousness to be aware that I'm doing stuff for people, so that when I say, hey, look, I'm doing my own thing, the awareness is there. Does that make sense? Even the environment is anti-environment. Yeah, in a way. Eric McIntyre, how are you? Welcome. Signed up already now. Oh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. What happened is in 2018, Zach and Ethan brought in potentially 10K new people to crowdfunding between them. That pool of backers now have hundreds of books to choose from rather than a dozen. Yes and no, Michael. I think that's accurate in its assessment, right? But at the end of the day, I would hope, and I have no data helping to stand this up. This is just a theory on my part. But at the end of the day, you take those 10,000 people, you make them excited about these projects, they get the projects, and they go like, this still doesn't feel good. What makes me want to buy the next thing? At least that's how I hope. That's like, that's how a free market ideally works, right? It's not as if there's 10,000 new people and they go like, oh, there's 200 more projects and I'm compelled to buy all of these new projects. It's more like, how do those new projects in whatever capacity compel now that people are a little bit more discerning in their taste and their support? Does that make sense? Right? It's not denying what you're saying. It's not shutting down what you're saying. I think like this is an add-on to what you're saying. Is there a mailing list? Yes, there is. ericcanetti.com. Go to the Arc Athena mailing list in the upper right-hand corner. Plug in your name, your mailing list. There you go. That statue is super dope. You know what, Rob? For you. Don't be so distracted by the ruptured vessels in Alice's nose that you forget to hit. Thank you for that, Movigs. Thank you so much. I promise I'll fix that. That's obnoxiously, especially on this screen, is like super saturated pink. Yikes. Mongoloid blood, haven't heard that one before. It's such a great perspective. Thank you. Yeah, man. What about detail and efficiency in pages? How did you find a nice balance to get things done on schedule? Fear. Fear and accountability. Listen, if my goal is to make sure that one of those things that you are into when you purchase our book is to make sure, if one of my goals is to make sure that when you purchase our book, you are getting it almost as soon as possible, I want to make myself accountable to the promises that I make. And rather than thinking about that promise, I broadcast them because people are going to hold me accountable to it. So for me to sit there and noodle a page isn't conducive to me getting the book out. And also, I have a really sort of again, this is not for everybody. I have a really stupid attitude, but also life-saving attitude of, as long as I can get the book out and I get a C average, as long as I can get the book out and the series is a C average, I think I'm okay. What I mean to say by that.
Could you say it again, please?
Sorry, Siri. What I mean to say is that I forgive myself very quickly for not having the perfect page. Because in my experience, I don't know if there is one. So if I don't put the appropriate amount of noodling, if I don't put the appropriate amount of detail, I would hope that it's not so distracting. The lack of that or the absence of that is not so distracting in the overall storytelling and the narrative that I get docked points for it, right? Does that make sense? I hope so. Also, hi, Dave David Dubois. How are you? AAA production, AAA comics, Arcathena Army. AAAs. I dig it. You need to include Arcathena Easter eggs on these direct market covers you're doing. Rockford drew his own cat into Starlight Cat's variant cover. I don't think I'm smart enough to go that level of meta. Zach basically has a free pass to launch any of his books on a big Ethan stream, but chooses instead to roll them in the middle of the night and mention it in 3 minutes into a Squirrel Girl review. Each person conducts their business very differently. Zach, I'm going to guess, knows his business. So I'm going to leave it to him to handle whatever it is that he's doing in regards to the promotion, the outreach, and the awareness of his products, right? I'm going to leave that to him. He knows what he's doing. I'm doing something different than that. And hopefully this works for me. Fear and accountability are great reasons. Quite frankly, these a lot of my money out there, out in the world for late projects. That's got to be painful, Jasper. You know, I know what that's like. I've supported a handful of books myself just to see what the experience is like, rather than think about it in theory. I've supported books from Kickstarter. I've supported books from Indiegogo. Oh gosh, what was it that not me personally, but my wife supported somebody's tarot card decks, and man, just the idea, it's unnerving to me as a person, not them as a creator and publisher, what have you, right? One of my fears is like, God, I'm so afraid people are going to be disappointed, not only in the book, but in the time that it took to make it, you know? I don't know, that's just me. Too much detail can take away from the storytelling too. Yeah, for sure. I think that's accurate. Depending on what your tastes are, depending on what you're trying to leverage, whether it be, if your entire book is all about detail and that's the style that you're going for, too much detail is like subjective, right? I'm not saying it isn't his call, just saying there isn't probably more than just one reason the books are making less. Yeah. People are disappointed when they see my face. I'm sorry, Rob. I don't know if you have the sort of data to help back up that statement. Like, did you put a poll out and say, like, are you disappointed, yes or no? Is anyone here disappointed in seeing Rob's face? Is that preventing you from backing his projects? Is that a deal breaker, Rob's face? Oh. Okay, it's 10:15. My throat is probably past the point of being parched. See, look at that. I'm always disappointed, but I back him nonetheless. Look at that. Never seen Rob's face. Slimwood is saying yes. Unhinged Entertainment saying, look at that, Rob. You're too hard on yourself, friend. Apparently, according to this very small sample case, but I think it's a very representative bit of data, your face does not detract from your projects. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right, I think that's going to be it for me tonight, guys. I didn't draw anything except for this lady's broken, how did they put it? Blood vessel nose. I feel awful. I tried to do that monkey, but it was just too overwhelmingly intimidating for me. But thank you so much for sitting with me as I give you that update. Next week is going to be a little sparse on the updates because I'm writing the dialogue for the remainder of this month. So again, I can get it in front of Joe Fulton and then ultimately into Eric Weathers' hands, and they can start doing their magic. I've already identified one panel or one page in specific that I know I need to put an insert panel in order to make the dialogue go smoother. So there you go. I'm sure that won't be the last time I do that, but point being, in the next couple of weeks between now and end of month, maybe the art is going to be a little bit sparse. I don't know what I'm going to be working on. I think maybe if there is art involved, I'm going to be slowly doing the thumbnails for issue 4. Exciting times. Probably covers, and hopefully if Jules is turning in more colored pages, I can give you guys updates on that. If you haven't done so already, please go to ericcanetti.com. Upper right hand corner, you can see the sign up for the newsletter. That newsletter also gives you access, or not access, but that newsletter also enrolls you into our giveaway for those mini busts for the main character of ATHENA. There's also an opportunity there for you to sign up to the blog, in which I'll be updating there with photos, maybe videos and what have you of the progress. That'll be great. If you're not already following me in my social media, please do so. You can find me at on Twitter at twitter.com/Eric Canetti, and on Instagram at instagram.com/Eric Canetti. I'm not sure I'm going to be getting to the time-lapse videos where I talk about my process anytime soon, because they are super time-consuming, and actually they're not as time-consuming, but I would rather take that time and focus it on the exercise of getting this dialogue pass out of the way so good people can do their jobs. So I probably won't be picking that up until mid-April. I hope you don't mind. Is that it? Yeah, Old Lang Syne is playing in the far background. I think that's an opportune time to sign off. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for signing up, those of you who did. And for those of you who haven't, please consider it. Come back next week. I'll be here on Monday starting 8 p.m. Pacific time. Okay? Thanks, you guys. Have a good night. I gotta go pee.